Welcome everyone to the What's Coming to Encompass a VEW recap presentation. Thank you for joining us today. We welcome your questions throughout the presentation. You can enter them by clicking on the Q&A icon on the top of your screen. My name is Linda Park, and it is my pleasure to be with you today to introduce Saul Wolf and Jeremy Law. Saul is a senior product manager for APIs and integrations at Eyefinity, where he facilitated bringing Encompass Pay to market. He also collaborates with Eyefinity's many certified partners that offer a variety of innovative products for Eyefinity customers. With 15 years of prior experience in international payments and fintech, Saul brings a unique blend of industry expertise and technical leadership. Saul is a father of 5 and enjoys playing pickup basketball. He is also a Green Bay Packers fan. Jeremy is an Eyefinity Software Solutions product manager with 15 years of eye care experience. He's previously worked as an optometric technician and office manager for an eye care practice. Sorry about that. Jeremy currently collaborates with doctors and Eyefinity engineers to design enhancements for EHR in Eyefinity Encompass. You can visit him in the Eyefinity booth at Any Vision Expo. In his spare time, he enjoys playing a variety of musical instruments, including guitar, violin, and harp. Welcome, Jeremy and Saul.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for the introduction, and thank you everybody who's joining us today. Saul and I are super excited to show off some of the things that are coming to Encompass or are already available. This Vision Expo that we just attended, I have to say this is, I've been here for a while, and this is the expo where we had, I think, the most exciting new features to show off. So this presentation is going to be jam-packed. I'm going to try and move kind of quickly because I want to save time for all of the great stuff that we're going to show off, but that's why we're here today, is to show you, anybody who couldn't attend in person, all the great things that we got to show off on the show floor. So here's the agenda on screen. You're going to see we're going to talk a little bit past, present, future, all things Encompass, and then at the end we're going to have some time for Q&A. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we have come a long way since the launch of Eyefinity Encompass back at Vision Expo East, and today we offer more than just software. Eyefinity Encompass is a unified platform designed to simplify the complexity of running and growing your practice. So what that comes down to, as you can see on screen here, our core four are four essential capabilities that work together seamlessly. And this is part of our vision and our goal, which is to give eye care professionals one platform that makes life easier and patient care better. So talking about the core four, we've got our practice management, and we know that with nearly 70% of patients preferring online scheduling, Encompass helps your team prepare for a smoother experience. It streamlines appointments, billing, workflows, all of that, so your day runs like clockwork. Talking about, reaching out to our patients, we have our patient engagement solution, which keeps patients connected. With automated recalls and appointment reminders, practices have set up to 30% reduction in no-shows using patient engagement, which means fewer gaps in your schedule and more revenue. Then there's our EHR. Our cloud-based clinical solution makes documentation fast and accurate, so you spend less time charting and more face-to-face time with patients. Today, Encompass users have already submitted over 20 million exams this year, which is proof that this system scales with your practice. And finally, we've got analytics. With a network of over 9,000 providers, Encompass delivers real-time marketing reports and performance insights that help you make smarter decisions for long-term growth. So bringing these four pillars together in one platform, we eliminate complexity and give you what matters most: seamless patient care. But where do we go from here? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. So the industry is constantly evolving, and patients' expectations are evolving with it. I'm sure all of you have experienced this. Patients are expecting more and more convenience and transparency at every turn. But practices face a lot of challenges: staff shortages, tight margins, and increasing payer complexity. These gaps represent real challenges and real opportunities as well. That's why we're continuing to innovate, adding new capabilities that help you work smarter. And by bringing new capabilities together in one platform, Encompass eliminates the need for multiple disconnected systems. The result: maximum clarity and growth. And the best part is that we're just getting started. So when we talk about what's coming to Ifinity Encompass, our goal is very simple. Make your day easier, your workflow smoother, and your practice more profitable. That's why the next evolution of Encompass is all about giving you more simplicity, more efficiency, and more control, all within one connected platform. So, getting into what we're going to showcase today, these were the main things that we focused on at Vision Expo OS, and you're going to see in just a second here. So, these are 4 powerful new enhancements designed to close gaps you might be facing today. The first is Encompass Message, which offers a smarter patient communication solution to reduce no-shows. Then we have Encompass Pay, which leans into integrated payments that accelerate cash flow. And then we have the net collections report, which ensures real-time visibility into what payments you're truly collecting. So Saul is going to present on all 3 of these. And then to round things out at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you something that we're working on and we're going to be deploying soon called Encompass Scribe, which allows you to document the doctor-patient conversation using an ambient AI-powered listening tool embedded directly into our iPad app. So lots of exciting stuff to cover. I think I've set the stage enough at this point. I want to get right into the demo. So Saul, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy, and good afternoon to everyone. So I'm going to start with Encompass Message. Encompass Message is a all-in-one solution that helps you communicate with your patients based on their preferences and yours. So you can see here on the screen, Encompass Message incorporates text, voice, and email. And so I will be demoing the texting portion next. We're pretty excited about that. And then in addition, there's quite a bit of ability to send group messages and group texts, emails, etc. That we can discuss later too. So without further ado, I'm just going to do a brief demo because we have 4 product demos here to get through. All right, so you can see here with my test patient, I've scheduled 1 appointment and then 1 was canceled. So you can imagine in this scenario, if you're working with a patient and they're trying to schedule, sometimes they need to change the time when they come in. So in this example that I was actually setting up yesterday in preparation for the demo, we had a scenario where the patient, meaning myself in this scenario, wasn't able to make the original appointment, and so then I, being the patient, texted the practice and said, "Thank you, I'll reschedule through the website." So now imagine that this patient had called your office again and wanted to schedule in person over the phone just because they had problems with the website or something. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to send a message to myself here from my phone. Hi, I'm just confirming my appointment for tomorrow. So that message should come over in just a few seconds here. And you can notice the green dot there. That's a quick visual that a new message came over. Message came over, and then if you wanted to, you can, in the scenario where you just spoken to the patient on the phone, confirm the patient. So additionally, going back to the texting communication, there's a number of different message templates that you can use to make it easier to respond to typical communications that you have with patients. So what I'd used yesterday was a standard message that said, "We're sorry, you can't make it. Would you like to reschedule?" You could include in that scenario things like a link to your web help or to your website in order for the patient to be able to schedule on their own. So that is a quick review of two-way text and overall our Encompass message solution. So moving right along to Encompass Pay. Encompass Pay is our integrated payment solution. It is available now. And what it allows practices to do is it makes it easier to accept payments really of any type. In Encompass Pay, through a point of sale terminal, accepts swipe, tap to pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and of course credit cards. One of the benefits of Encompass Pay is that it automatically records transactions into Eyefinity in the patient ledger, and it also calculates the total amount so that when you're doing daily closing, you're not worried about making errors when you're trying to reconcile payments against what is in Encompass. So I'm going to do a brief review demo of Encompass Pay here. So again, I have my same test patient here, and I have a balance that I need to pay for this patient. Anytime that I pick a payment type that involves a card, you're going to see this authorize button if you're using Encompass Pay. So if I pick, for example, cash, you won't see that button. But if the patient walks in with a MasterCard, let's say, then you would press this button. That would actually integrate with a point of sale terminal that is configured as part of Encompass Pay. The patient would interact with that terminal, swipe their card, tap their card, however they prefer. And then as soon as they finish, Encompass itself would be updated. And then at the end of the day, and obviously I don't have a point of sale terminal, so I can't complete it. So you'll have to imagine through the magic of a 30-minute demo that this transaction actually occurred. And then at the end of the day, I wanted to mention too that any type of payment that you're taking through Encompass Pay will also be calculated here. This is an older date when some of our testers were testing the functionality. So you can see there were $500 worth of debit transactions that took place on the 6th of August, as well as a 2-cent Visa transaction. Last, just want to mention too that one of the benefits of Encompass Pay is that if you do have to issue a refund, the patient actually doesn't usually have to be present. So a typical scenario that I've heard talking with practices is some practices charge 50% for eyeglasses up front, and then 50% once the eyeglasses are delivered to the practice and the patient picks them up. So let's say you had a scenario where there was a defect in the lenses and you needed to remake that pair of eyeglasses. You could issue a partial refund, whatever the difference is for the different materials selected, while you're talking or texting with the patient, and do that without the patient necessarily coming in until they are ready to pick up their new pair of eyeglasses. All right, so that is Encompass Pay. Then we had one more product to demo, the Net Collections Report. This one I'm pretty excited about. This one is coming in about 4 weeks in early November. Everyone should be able to see it and use it. It's built into our analytics reporting, and what it does is it's trying to provide a complete picture review of how money is collected in your practice. So it can be used for a variety of different purposes. It can be used to gather insight into your overall financial health, trend information, staff performance, you name it, basically. So do a quick demo here. All right, so this is the Net Collections Report. Like I mentioned before, it is available under the Analytics and Insights tab here, and it should be visible for everyone in about 4 weeks. So actually, right after VEW, we listened to customer feedback, and one of the pieces of feedback that we got actually late September was, in terms of our reporting, that we didn't have enough functionality and that we needed more breakdown of services by CPT code, by patient payments, and just more payment functionality overall. And last, that we needed to combine insurance payments and patient payments together. Well, if you look at this report, that's exactly what it does. So Here you can apply looking for only payments made by patients. You can slice and dice the data based on CPT code. And you can also look at the data in terms of whether it was collected as part of billing or front office point of sale. Let's refresh here. Now, as we're waiting for this to load, this is quite a bit of data, a month's worth. You can see the different tabs here on the top. And what it is different ways to view the data underneath. So the detail tab is going to give you a list of all of the transactions that were related for the different parameters that you picked up top. And you can export that data into CSV or Excel so that you can review it in a different way. There's also tabs for a doctor specific data, location-based, and staff. These are typically used, from what I've seen, for commission reporting or performance reporting, and usually on a monthly basis. So overall, there's quite a few different ways to use the net collections report. And the nice thing is, like I mentioned before, is that it does combine the insurance payments that you would collect, the patient payments you collect, and regardless of when you're collecting that money. So, all right, that is all I had for the net collections report. And I think I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy.
Awesome. Thanks, Saul. Hey, that was awesome. Anybody who knows how to use Teams and use the React emojis, let's see some hands together in the chat. You blew through 3 of those demos, and those were all super exciting features, whether it be, being able to do online bill pay, being able to text message your patients, and being able to see what's actually being, where your revenue is coming from in your practice. So that's massive. So thanks, Saul, for covering all that. It'll be my pleasure here to close us out with a presentation on Encompass Scribe. So Encompass Scribe is a new solution that we're going to be rolling out to you very soon. So we know that ambient documentation can cut after-hours charting and speed note closure. Studies have shown, that this can give back, multiple hours per day to doctors by having a tool that basically allows the doctor to offload a lot of their documentation tasks. So we have a solution which we're calling Encompass Scribe. It's already being tested in a very limited setting with patients. And what we found is that it can automate up to 70% of manual documentation that doctors are doing today, giving you back several hours per week. It speaks your language, generating structured exam documentation as if it were entered manually. You'll get to see that in just a second. And it's extremely accurate. It's been trained to understand all of the jargon that is specific to not just eye care, but optometry in particular. It's going to boast, I think you'll see a lot fewer errors and better continuity of care, sometimes compared even to manual documentation, because, there's things that you discuss with the patient that maybe, just kind of folks forget to document manually, but the solution here is listening to the doctor-patient conversation and actually structuring all of that within the visit note. One thing I'll also mention is that this is a solution that's going to be built into our iPad app. So if you're thinking about buying a new iPad, we have some hardware recommendations that will be going out to everybody who signed up for this webinar. So make sure to check your email to see that if you're thinking about buying a new iPad, so that you can make sure you're getting one that's going to be ready to roll with Encompass Scribe. All right, so give me just a second here and I will share my screen so that we can take a look at Encompass Scribe. All right, so what you'll be seeing in just a moment here is a prototype for demonstration purposes, but this will help us kind of walk through what the experience of Encompass Scribe is like. So here I've got a patient, Naomi Melcher. She's coming in today for a glaucoma follow-up. We're trying to get her pressures down. Right now she's on Alpha-GAN, but it doesn't look like we're seeing a reduction in pressure the way that we'd like. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk to her. So imagine that this is, after we've done our examination and everything, I'm going to go ahead and hit this button to say record visit. It's going to ask me if everyone in the room is okay with the visit being recorded. I'm going to say yes and accept. And then I have this little widget that lives at the bottom of the screen. I can maneuver this around if I want, but it's got buttons to record, pause, close. I'm going to hit the button to record. And from here, I can hold the iPad on my lap. I can put it on the desk, several feet away. The onboard microphone is going to pick up the doctor-patient conversation as we're speaking, and basically in real time transform that into a visit note. So I'll go ahead and hit stop here, and we'll hit save. And you'll see that it processes right here on the iPad. Now, this is an advantage of Encompass Scribe over solutions that are entirely cloud-based. Our solution actually does a lot of the processing right on board the device. So you have really, really fast speed where it's being converted from a transcription into structured documentation. So let's look at that structured documentation. This kind of workflow should be familiar to folks who already use the iPad app today. So for example, if patients submit information through the patient portal or through kiosk, or you're using view/import previous, you're very familiar, I bet, with this workflow of accepting or rejecting changes that are being suggested to enter into the patient's record. Now, you'll be able to scroll through, and as the doctor, you have complete control. The Encompass Scribe solution isn't doing the documentation for you necessarily. It's just suggesting all of these things that it heard you discuss with the patient. Now, if you need to refresh your memory on anything that was discussed with the patient, we do provide a transcript to you. So you can go through and look at everything that was discussed. This is just for the purposes of documentation. It's not stored long-term. The visit note is the record of truth for what happened at the visit, but you can review everything here while you're deciding what to introduce into the record. So I want to point out a few things here. Not only do you have control over what's entered, but also you'll see that these elements are being documented as structured exam elements, as if you entered them in yourself. And I'll explain why that's important in just a second. But I just want to point out that that's something that's pretty unique to our solution that I think you will be hard pressed to find in anything that's out there today. So why is that important? Well, let's say I love everything that's been documented here, right? So I hit done. The output here is informed by that structured documentation. So here I'm already ready to go. I didn't have to document basically anything manually, and I already have my E&M code and my procedure codes for both the fundus photos and visual fields testing that I did for this patient. And it's all ready to roll. It's associated to the correct diagnosis code as well. So there's very little that I would need to do in this scenario. As I scroll down, you'll see the chief complaint is entered in a structured format. It's not just text, but this is a chief complaint that I can edit or I can import at at the next visit, whether it be a year from now or a month from now. You can see that if I come down to the slit lamp portion of the exam, she had a abnormally large cup to disc ratio, so that's highlighted in bold, and that's something that could just be dictated out loud. Again, the scribe is just picking up on what you as the doctor say out loud and converting it into all this structured documentation for you. As we get into the diagnoses, you can see we have this format where, just as if you entered it in manually, you have a primary open-angle glaucoma diagnosis that's informing the ICD-10 coding. And then I have my fundus photos and my automated perimetry. And if I verbalize what I see, then that's going to be attached to the assessment within the context of the plan. So if I'm using my iLog and I want to review changes over time and progression of symptoms over time, that's all going to show up in that structured format versus, most solutions that are out on the market today, they create a big narrative visit note, and then I have to read through several PDFs to understand what's happening with the progression of the patient's disease. Well, in this case, everything's actually going to be entered in at the field level so that I can easily track changes over time. Same thing here with the automated perimetry, right? We did 24-2, and in this case, we're seeing that the patient is losing some vision around the periphery. Now, this is really exciting here, right? So our Scribe solution also has the ability to document prescriptions in a structured format so that when you're ready to basically finalize this exam, you can also e-prescribe instantaneously, right? Most other solutions that listen to the doctor-patient conversation and convert it into visit documentation, they still require you to transcribe that into your e-prescriptions. So you got to create your own SIG. You've got to transfer all that information over. Well, our solution just does that for you. So you'll see it's all the little things that add up, whether it be the auto coding or the e-prescriptions or the referral letters, if you're participating in MIPS, all of those things that if you're using just a off-the-shelf solution that's available today will require you to do a bunch of transcription later. We're automating all of that for you so that you truly don't have to do all that manual documentation. In this case, I've got my counseling too that I talked to the patient about. I've got my assessment notes, and then of course I've got my follow-up so that this goes right over to the practice management side of Encompass, and we make sure that we recall that patient, get them back in the office on time. So that's my demo in a nutshell. I will go ahead and stop sharing at this point and pass the screen back over. And let's just talk a little bit as we close things out here. So our vision for Eyefinity Encompass remains simple, a unified software that centralizes practice management, EHR, patient engagement, and analytics all in one place. No more juggling multiple systems, no more disconnected workflows, just one platform designed to simplify your operations and elevate patient care. So as Eyefinity Encompass evolves, so will your practice. This all-in-one platform will bring ease and efficiency into every part of your workflow securely, intelligently, and seamlessly. And you can start today. So the next evolution is available now. As you've seen today, Eyefinity Encompass is more than a platform. It's a partner in helping your practice thrive with Encompass Pay, Encompass Message, and Net Collections Report that Saul showed off, available right now, and Encompass Scribe coming soon, which to talk about the Encompass Scribe timing, just as a little teaser for anybody in the call here, we're planning to release it in the first half of 2026. So those are all things that you can either use today or that are be coming out very soon that are going to allow you to really harness the technology we have to streamline operations in your practice. All right, so if you're ready to see these innovations in action and experience one platform with infinite possibilities, you can scan the QR code on your screen to learn more about our latest features, or feel free to connect with your Eyefinity sales rep to request a personalized demo. And now we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop them in the chat and Linda will read those questions for us.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And just a reminder to everybody, if you have any questions, you can enter them using the Q&A icon on the top of your screen. It looks like we only got one question asking about a recording. And yes, you will be able to watch this using the same link for recording. And we will also update the website with a recording link for the people who have not registered for the webinar. So if you wanted to share this with anybody, they will be able to access it that way. And then we have a couple other questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can. If we don't have a chance to get to your question today, we will respond via email. Would we be able to set scribe to document as S code versus 92 codes as default setting?
Yeah, it's a great question. So just to make sure it's clear to everybody and make sure I understand the question. So rather than billing like a comprehensive eye exam with a 9.2 code and then the 92015 refraction code, can we get the scribe to document everything using like S0620? I think I got the code right there, or 21 at the end. That is something that should be possible by the time that the Encompass Scribe is released. And most likely we're going to address that even beforehand. That's something I've actually been chatting with our developers about recently to make that sort of like a sticky preference. So yeah, you should expect to be able to do that.
Okay, and then somebody asked, are there any trial opportunities available? I'm assuming it's for the Encompass Scribe.
Yeah. Certainly when it comes to all of our solutions, we build it with feedback from end users like yourselves. So there's absolutely opportunities to partner and trial any of not only what we shared today, but anything that's in general. So I would say if you're interested at all, please contact your sales rep, and we'll see what we can do to get you early access to some of these things that we're working on, so that we can hear your feedback.
Okay, and then we have a couple. I'll just try to get through them really quickly for the Encompass messages. One person asked, can images be sent through Encompass message?
Yeah, great question. And I also saw the question about using the kiosk, and for us, those are related. Right now, we are just starting to pilot additional functionality with Encompass Message. So we call it patient forms. So imagine a scenario before a patient visits, and they're able to send in either images like an insurance card, or other information, say updated demographic information. We have a plan to roll that out in phases. The actual image upload is going to take a little bit longer. Right now, we are doing a pilot with additional data that a patient can update through a form, like an online form. So yes, that's coming. The images is a roadmap item, I believe, scheduled for the middle of next year. And for background, one of the main reasons for that is because the images themselves can contain sensitive information. So we have to make sure that we store and process those images, say, for example, an insurance card, securely. So it is coming, not available yet, though.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I see a few more questions rolled in. We will respond to you via email. I am so sorry. That is all the time that we have for questions today. But again, if you had asked a question, we will definitely get back to you via email. And so with that, I would like to thank you, Jeremy and Saul, for your time and sharing all of the latest and greatest we shared at VEW for Eyefinity and Compass. And I also want to thank all of you on the line for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. This concludes our presentation.